Panharmonicon presents a podcast.
Turpentine brandy. It cools the head and warms the dog bones.
It may snow tonight.
Really? Thank you very much. Wow.
To whom it may concern.
She sees the future.
Ha! No, she understands TV.
What up, people? Welcome to another episode of Panharmonicon Studios presents
A podcast.
Yes, sir. A podcast indeed. I am one of your hosts, Damon.
This is Farron. And this is Andrew.
So, I'd like to thank you guys for listening in on this episode. Thank you every episode, but I do want to thank you for listening in. If you guys can hit that like button for us, and if you don't like it, hit that not like button for us. I guess that'd be the thumbs down. If you're on Spotify, please feel free to give us a rating. Can be 1, can be 5, preferably 5, but it can be 1 if you didn't like it.
Yeah.
But if you don't like it, let us know why you didn't like it.
Yeah.
And please give me a little bit more than mid. If you tell me you don't like my voice, I mean, I really can't fix it. I don't like my voice either. But it gives me more indication
I'm
on
gonna
what I
stop
can
you
do.
right
Hey, I
there.
like your voice.
Yeah, I was just about to say, man, like, you have a voice that is relaxing. It's hard, your voice is not a problem.
Well, I appreciate that. I think we all don't like our voices genuinely. Probably as some type of like evolutionary thing to prevent mimicking from happening. Not mimicking as in like a body snatch or anything like that, but like someone trying to like mimic our voice to like lure us like an enemy or something like that. I think we just
Like, if we heard our own voices, I'm not going over there.
Yeah, right. So I think we're all predisposed to disliking our voice the same way that like we can all look in a mirror and apparently we all think we look more like we think we look better in mirrors than we actually do. Apparently,
Dude.
I think that's like a study was done on that. But regardless, mid is a very hard thing to understand. So if you don't like something, and if you didn't like this, tell me why. That's all I'm saying. We can fix things that aren't just mid. And if you are subscribed, because we'd like you to hit that subscribe button for us and that follow button for us on Spotify, let us remember to hit that notification bell. That way it is letting you know when we put out all this content for you. Because in addition to the podcast, we have been, we've been stretching out a little bit, giving you a little bit more. If you guys didn't see our movies in a minute, we have a great little short on there about Hereditary, a movie that we hopefully will be doing on the full podcast one day. Ooh. And I've got one on there as well. So What the Hell Was? So the past episode was about Mismatched Couples, another movie hopefully we'll be doing on the full podcast one day. So feel free to subscribe, like, comment, and share. You'll know that we've been doing these things separately each time because I still don't have it all down. But do all that stuff for us.
Yeah.
And we would be greatly appreciative. Just wanted to give that quick out before I shoot it over to my other host and I ask how you guys have been doing.
I do want to interject here, just maybe something we could start doing. Shout out to Jason Jones for commenting on the Black Dynamite podcast. Homies supporting homies, and we love that. Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah, how you guys doing?
I spent, I guess, a little peek behind the screen, back-to-back recordings here. I spent my one tidbit on the WTH phenomenon. So I'm just trying to think of other stuff that's been going on. Because, feeling my age. My back has been a little weird.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks, man. Hey, we're almost at 30. We love it.
Yeah,
we're already breaking down. I will
man.
say I started broken, but, that's a whole other conversation. At least not my back. But so that's been interesting. So it's really just like, how many more pillows do I have to buy and just like put under my body when I sleep to feel all right when I wake up?
Yeah.
And I think it's about 8 is my count.
Oh, damn.
Eight's hyperbolic, but
I was gonna say that's more pillow than bed at that point.
Would you say it's at least half that though?
4?
Yeah, 4 pillows. Is that
probably
even hyperbolic?
be
Is that-
well. So I also sleep with a pillow over my head, so it's an additional pillow. So I got one under the head, one over the head. I would say one under the back, and then one under my knees.
over the head.
Yeah, it was the supreme tangent. It was a habit I picked up at Spanish camp because I was in a little cabin with 7 other little boys and 2 camp counselors, and one of our camp counselors was very loud snorer. So to block out the sound, I put my pillow
So
over my
a
head.
further tangent.
Sure.
What is Spanish camp?
It's in the name. You just go, you
And
you
learn
speak
Spanish?
Yeah, it's it's a
Okay.
total immersion camp. It's
When was this?
Like when I was in 7th grade, I think.
And did you
This
go to
was-
Spain, or did you just go to
No,
a
it
camp and
was
everybody
like-
spoke Spanish?
like Minnesota or something. I forget where it was.
I didn't
but this
expect
was-
that.
Yeah, it's kind of It's
Let's
a
go
little,
as far away from Mexico as possible.
literally. Yeah, but they have a couple other ones. My sister went for Japanese, and then I think they have like some other ones. But yeah, the whole point is like, you learn best through immersion. So they just throw you in, and depending on your language skill, when you get there, they'll give you like some sort of color coding to be in like, I was in the almost predominantly English cabin because I sucked at Spanish at the time. But there was like different cabins that it would be like full immersion, like you can only speak in Spanish. I don't know if there was like
dang.
a punishment. I don't think they were like hitting kids or anything. if they
Probably
spoke
wasn't a
English.
punishment, but it's like,
They wouldn't maybe respond to you.
I mean, they
if you-
categorized you guys. That
Yeah,
probably
we
felt
were-
bad. You were like,
I
dang, they
was-
put me in the
Yeah, dude.
There was a
You
little
can't
test that I didn't
speak.
know it was a test. They asked like,
Off
how'd
to
you
the
get-
blue
yeah,
camp.
It truly. It was like, oh, how'd you get there? Like, that's the only thing I remember because the guy was like, he was pantomiming at that point because I was failing so horribly the little entrance exam. But yeah, so 4 pillows I think is probably my count. But I do
4
have a knee
pillows.
pillow because I am a side sleeper, so that throws the count off because that was back sleeping. But yeah, that's me right now. That's what
Wow.
I've been grappling with.
Yeah,
is,
you're evolving. You're-
mortality,
you're
and
changing.
death, and hopefully
Yeah,
into
man.
a beautiful butterfly. But who knows?
I feel that, dude. I've been feeling that way with like my vision.
Oh, the Oilers. You're not working
Yeah,
for you?
the Oiler. No, it's like I honestly, there have been times I've just like forgotten my glasses in my car, and like when I start working, I just don't feel like going back out to my car, and I just don't realize.
So
like,
you're just
how much.
squinting the whole time.
Yeah, dude. Like even when I'm outside, I'm like walking my dog, and dude, it's like
It's a
light
crazy world
is-
to not be able to see. Like,
Yeah, man.
It's scary.
It's,
Everything's just a blob.
And the thing is, like it's not even that I can't. It's almost like one of my eyes just like taking in too much light,
Oh,
and it's just it's strange sometimes. But I'm definitely getting old. It does so like there are times when I wake up in the morning and as I'm stumbling downstairs to like get to the kitchen, I'm like legitimately stumbling. Like I'm like I'll take a step and I'll like hit the wall, and because like not only is because of like contest prep and I was like I wake up, I'm super hungry, I'm super tired, and I just like don't have that much energy, but everything just like hurts, man. Like from like my Achilles tendon up to my traps. But life is great. life is great, man. How's it going with you?
I guess as someone who is well past 30 and is running at breakneck speed towards the 4-0, I am also in pain. So I don't know what I did. Well, I guess I do know what I did. This weekend I had to do a lot of lawn work. And we have a lot of black walnuts in my backyard. And apparently I must have like rolled my ankle on one, but did not notice it at all until this morning.
Ooh.
And this is for those
from Saturday. Like when did
Yeah,
you?
I worked on Saturday.
That was
And it took till like, I guess last night while I was sleeping before I noticed that something was like messed up.
Wow.
And I can't tell if it's my ankle or my heel, but it's in that area. And it doesn't always hurt, but as I move it in certain ways, it hurts.
yeah.
The back of my knee hurts. I don't know what that's about.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been having that too. Like, is it tight? What does it feel like exactly?
It's not tight. I've had
like really tight back knee.
Yeah,
back
I've had
knee,
that in the
back
calf and hamstring.
Yeah.
Like just, I remember this one time, like just a couple of weeks back, I was knocked out, and a cramp that would take down Thor just attacked
Big old Charlie horse.
my like calf, and I was just immediately awake, rolling around, just gripping at it, trying to massage it. It said, no, I don't care.
Yeah.
And like I was out for like hours, just rolling around, like just in pain.
Really?
Dude, that
Yeah,
is-
it took so long before it finally loosened up. So yeah, audience.
You eat bananas?
You guys are kind of
Okay.
I ate some more after that. I was like, oh, maybe I need to stop. I already take potassium pills, which is crazy.
Dang. Okay.
So
I got nothing.
it just decided I'd been like stretching my toes too much while I was asleep or something. But audience, if you have not gotten old yet, don't get old.
This is what you got to look forward to.
But if you are our age, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
You know what it's like to wake up and be like, do I hurt today? Yes.
Yeah. You know what it's like to be like afraid of falling
Dude,
from like regular
I think to
heights.
myself, like, falling used to be so funny to me. And I can still maybe stifle a laugh. But, like, for the most part, if you see somebody bite it, I'll be like, damn, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, dude. Like, you can't hit concrete that hard no more.
Nah, man. Like, the last time I truly fell was, like, when we were living together at the apartment.
What happened?
Ice. It was like black ice I couldn't see.
Oh.
And I did like the splits. And I was like,
Oh. Goodness, no.
and I think it like and now me did that, I'd shatter.
Yeah.
I'd just be like, you'd have come out and I'd have just been in
Dude, it'd be
pieces
like that
in the
scene
parking
in
lot.
Terminator 2 with T-1000. Shot T-1000.
I was thinking Lego Star Wars.
I'll just like falling
Just-
apart.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, when you, I mean, both are legitimate.
Yeah.
Like yeah, dude, it sucks, dude. You feel the impact when you see other people do it, and I've also noticed that with like injuries when I see it in sports.
Ooh.
And I see stuff like that happen, especially with what happened to my leg back in high school in football.
Yeah.
Like I can't not see that and immediately feel it. Like when somebody gets their knee blown out, or
but now they like bounce back from it.
yeah, that's
Crazy.
Yeah. Just like, oh, I had 3 surgeries.
Like
I'm sprinting again.
like knee injuries used to be like career ending injuries.
Yep.
And now these dudes be like, oh, I just like cycled my blood over in Germany and now I'm like good. And you're like, what?
yeah.
That, oh God, like that Paul Rudd Netflix TV show where they just like get cloned.
Oh,
what I'm talking about?
I never watched that one, but I heard.
I heard about it,
I
man.
heard about that shit.
Crazy. We're all getting old and hurt.
You know what helps when you are getting older? As you get older, is
A
to
dog?
have
A companion. Okay, I see your transition. I'll match you on that grease.
Yeah, he did.
All right, so I'm not about that transition. We are going over Wes Anderson's Isle of Dogs.
Yes.
We watched Grand Budapest Hotel, and I think kind of as a collective unit, we said we want to watch some more Wes Anderson stuff. So we fast-tracked Isle of Dogs, and as your guy who does the stats beforehand, the movie was released in 2018, had a budget of $35 million, which makes sense because it was an animated film using like claymation. I want to say it's just claymation, but it definitely had like a digital process added to it. Global box office of $73 million, and in a first for us, I am going to actually have its Rotten Tomatoes score.
Whoa.
It had a 90% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes against an 87% audience score.
Oh, so not too much of a
So it's
deviation.
not much of a deviation at all. However, I also continued to kind of look into things because I ran into some stuff while I was looking that up. The movie actually seems to have a mixed perception now, like in 2025.
Now, so
It seemed to be pretty well lauded when it first came out. And it seems as time has gone on, we've gotten that kind of like overhyped effect that's made people say that it was not as good as they thought it. Like it was overhyped essentially, which is crazy to say the freaking claymation movie about dogs
Yeah, it's
in
overhyped.
Japan is overhyped, but it may also come with just being a Wes Anderson film in itself.
Could be like the cast members too.
And cast members, indeed. I've learned through this movie that he definitely has a group of people that attach themselves to him.
True auteur.
And as such, unlike in Grand Budapest, though, I guess maybe because it's just voices, these all are not cameos. These are full-fledged, like, parts, like roles that these guys are in. So we have Edward Norton, who plays Rex. We have Liev Schreiber, who is Spots. Jeff Goldblum, who is Duke. Bill Murray, who plays Boss. Bob Balaban, our boy with the bees, as King. And Bryan Cranston as Chief. So I'm not sure if Bryan Cranston has been in other Wes Anderson movies.
I think he in. What is the one that just came out? Like either earlier this year or last year, with Benicio del Toro, I believe, is in it, along with Michael Cera. Oh boy, I think it just hit Amazon. That one's gonna hurt.
Yeah, but also Scarlett Johansson plays Nutmeg.
The Phoenician?
Right?
Sorry.
Yes, the Phoenician scheme.
The Phoenician scheme. Yes. As it's shown, he definitely has like a group that, and it's an eclectic group of people that actually have like want to be in your movies, and you can always come upon when you call for them.
Yeah.
And so the movie is about, as I said, it's a claymation movie about Japan, dogs in Japan. There's a virus, seemingly, that is harmful, they believe, to humans that dogs carry. And as such, this family, who is, since apparently time immemorial, been against dogs and for cats, is wanting to get rid of the dogs. So they put all the dogs onto an island instead of just killing them, known as Gomino Chima, otherwise known as Trash Island in English. And they're just supposed to live their life while also having trash constantly thrown upon them, because it seems to be where all the trash in Mega Tokyo comes from. But the family has a son, like the mayor, who is the head of the family, has an adoptive son named Atari.
I thought it was his nephew. Or is it like
adopted ward? I'm sorry, I should say adopted ward,
yeah.
not son.
Gotcha.
As someone who typically says that when it comes to like Batman and Robin, I should be better about saying that. An adoptive ward who had a dog who was taken onto the island, who decided to leave and get his dog back. But no human is supposed to be on there. So it's highly believed that the mayor killed Atari's actual parents to get a hold of Atari for some reason. And I guess he was going to be the heir of the family. And as such, he needed to be molded in a way that made him also hate dogs. I don't know why. But there are a group of dogs on the island itself. The aforementioned Chief Rex, Duke, Boss, and King, who come upon Atari after he crash lands and kind of both nurse him back to health and also try to help him find his dog Spots, who was placed on the island previously. We get into some shenanigans. We get into a group of students who are working to figure out what's going on behind the scenes. We get a little mini like revolution, and we end up with a happy ending wherein the uncle / the mayor gives up his position because he realizes that what he's been doing is wrong. One of the few times that the antagonist actually lets go of the antagonist title. And we find out that, I'm just giving everything away, but like we find out essentially that Chief and Spots are brothers. They end up switching positions, whereas Chief, who's been this like rough, tough, been a stray all his like most of his life, ends up befriending Atari in a way that allows him to now become Atari's dog, because Spots no longer wants to be in that position because he has a family that he ends up having on the island. So, what did you guys? Well, what did you think of it, Farron? I will preface this. I'm not gonna outright say why I just said that, but what did you think about it, Farron?
I really enjoyed it. I thought it's incredibly entertaining. It was so fun to watch, especially so close to Grand Budapest Hotel, because you see that even though it's a totally different style that he's approaching this film with, that a lot of his themes and a lot of his motifs, all of that still shines through with how he uses the frame, with how he uses color, with how he uses symmetry, which is very much still there. And it got me thinking, because this movie is like Grand Budapest Hotel is done in chapters, and I couldn't remember, but is Grand Budapest Hotel 4 chapters or 5, or is it 6? Like, do you guys remember if it's an even or odd number?
I think it's an odd number.
Okay, interesting. I think Isle of Dogs is 4 chapters.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, but just thinking again about the symmetry, and even the symmetry and just not within the frame itself, but like the movie opens with the 3 people, which I guess you can like, oh, that's odd, but isosceles triangle, they're all like equally apart from each other. It was very like symmetry within that. The way that it opened with them doing that opening musical number is the way that it ends with them doing the musical number again. So we're just kind of cool to see some of the stuff that you guys have brought up from the last time we did a Wes Anderson movie. It's like, oh, it's still here.
Yeah, very much so. And also, it made me realize, and I think I may have said this during Grand Budapest, I'm not sure, but just how visually aesthetic and appeasing that his symmetry is. Mm-hmm. It makes easy watching of like his movies, and this one was no different. Like I will say a bit different on the color part though, like rather than that like constant vibrantness that was in Grand Budapest. This movie was very, like, just muddy, dark, dull throughout the entire, most of it.
Yeah.
And that's obviously because of the fact that we were on this, like, trash island where life isn't really supposed to be blossoming.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think he also was like, well, color wouldn't really blossom here either.
Right.
So it made it very, like, brown. But it also worked because all the dogs stood out so much more and never, like, blended in with the background because they themselves were bright. Like either they were like dark, like Chief, or they were like bright whites and browns
with very actually like bright eyes though too.
Yeah, very bright
I think
eyes.
Chief's eyes were very blue. Mm-hmm. There was one of the scenes when he's alone with Atari, which also came back to symmetry. Because I think when they get separated, it's still the other 4 dogs are in that gondola or whatever, and then it's Atari and Chief. So it's like 4 and 2, and then they're going on that adventure. I was wondering something. I was curious about. I was watching this because the movie when it starts off, there's this preface where he's like, the dogs. It's a pretty funny note that he puts in there. It's like the dogs are speaking English, but then like everyone else is speaking Japanese. I think with the exception of like whether they say like a couple lines like the because it takes place in Japan, that a few like some of the Japanese characters will sometimes utter like English words, but not like full on sentences. There was an American exchange student who would speak English, but all the dogs just like spoke straight English. And the thing is the Japanese characters when they spoke, there was no subtitles for it.
I thought that was, so I thought that I found that jarring, but at the same time,
how was it for you though? Since you speak Japanese,
well, I don't like speak it like so perfectly that I just like understood every single thing that was being said. But at the same time, I thought to myself like, if I didn't know any Japanese, I would think this was very like kind of hard to like parse because of the fact that like there are, like he said, there are no subtitles. I even tested it to see by putting subtitles on.
Okay.
And at any time that Japanese was being spoken, the subtitles just said speaking Japanese.
Yeah.
So the way it works is that anybody speaking Japanese, they're just speaking Japanese. It is up to like parts of the movie itself to determine if it wants to translate for you. Oh. So like occasionally whenever they're like doing like so often in the movie there will be someone doing like a broadcast, and if they're broadcasting in Japanese, then there is an English translator.
Interesting.
As he was saying, and I think this may have been as a method of like that whole like dogs can understand us, but we can't understand dogs thing. The dogs cannot, they can't 100% understand what any of the Japanese people are saying, which is weird because then they would speak to the Japanese people. Like in this case, like whenever any of the dogs spoke to Atari, for the most part, Atari seemed to understand what their intent and what they were saying was. But ultimately it didn't hurt the story whatsoever. And in fact, it actually was like, I was like, I'm surprised that this story could still remain so cohesive, despite like maybe like a quarter of it not being like readily understandable.
Yeah.
There's more English than you would think there is. It's mostly English. But then when like somebody's speaking Japanese, they're speaking Japanese. But at the same time, I think whenever they were speaking Japanese, it wasn't so important that it was like some diehard part of the story that you're like, I don't get the story. They hid it behind this language.
Like it completely loses its cohesiveness just because you didn't know that one line. Like it wasn't like that. So I guess that's maybe also why they would translate in English when it was
important to the story.
But yeah, there were so many lines in the movie that was so freaking hilarious to me, man. Like again, his humor is
great.
It's there, it's front and center, and it's hilarious. We were just talking about this scene. There's this so after Atari flies in, he crash lands this plane, right? And the funny thing is he gets this like a rod embedded in his head, and he has it in his head the entire movie. Time. He's just operating with a rod from the airplane, like, literally in his skull. But the dogs, most of the dogs, with the exception of Chief, played by or voiced by Bryan Cranston, treat him like you would expect or kind of assume a dog would treat a boy, like man's best friend, right? But Chief is this loner, like Dane was mentioning. He's this tougher, gruffer. He's not grown up in a home. There's even a scene where I think Atari gives him a biscuit, and he's like, "I never had one of these before," and he has one. He's like, "This is my favorite food now." It's like really cool, like little details like that. But there's a scene where they get split up. So 4 of the dogs, who are coincidentally the 4 dogs who are more, they were put on the island, but they were domesticated. They get separated, who are the ones who are really trying to support Atari and finding Spot. But they get separated, and of course Chief ends up getting paired with Atari, which is how their bond grows. But there's a scene where they reconnect, but they like Atari and Chief are on the ground, and then the 4 of them are in the gondola. And Chief is running, trying to keep up with the gondola. And he looks up, and this scene, dude, because I think the only dog that's talking during it is Edward Norton. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Well, how'd you get that ride?" He's like, "Well, we didn't book it with a travel agent." And he's like, "Jump. Where? Here. When? Now. Why? What?" It's just that exchange was so funny. It was so simple. But it hit.
I feel like that's how all the dialogue is in that movie. It's like, specifically, definitely within the dogs, because it feels like none of the, like, with the exception of that scene, really, most of them kind of give like very deadpan, like, deliveries of their lines, but they're all like, it almost feels like that's how they should be talking throughout the movie. And given that you have like people like Jeff Goldblum and Bill Murray talking within this movie, it makes perfect sense why they're like that. And so there's just scenes where they just, and also like kind of like repetition, like bits are another thing that's in there. So it actually just hit me as we were sitting here talking about it, that repeating bit where like Rex says like we need to do something, and then Chief says like you're not the boss of us. And that they need to take we're all the boss and we need to take a vote. And I just realized all their names are like leader names.
Yeah.
So it makes sense why they would say he would say we're all the boss.
Oh.
Because there's Chief, Rex, Duke, Boss, and King. So
oh dang. Yeah.
So as he was saying, most dogs seem to be most of the dogs that are on the island were domesticated dogs. So they talk about having their master, wanting their master, and things like that. And Rex, King, Boss, and Duke are very much like that. So when Atari shows up, they're very willing to be like, hey, let's like this is the master, let's do what he says. Chief is very reluctant to be that, and then as such, he's the one that ends up becoming like Atari's dog. So there are just moments where he so doesn't want to be, but he has to be anyway. Like once they fully get separated, and it's funny because he has like Atari has that rot in his head, and they think that like maybe that knocked some screws loose or something like that, it made him a little bit crazy. But I also think it's just that he's a kid. So there's like a scene where like they get to a place that kind of looks like amusement ride equipment was there, and he looks at this like sign that says you have to be this tall to ride. And he's up underneath it, and he can't get tall enough to reach it. And then Chief comes back and looks at him. He's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like looking at it, and he's like, "Don't get on that. You're not tall enough to ride it." And then he just like slowly starts making his way towards the steps. And he's like, "Don't get up on those steps." Then he gets on the steps anyway. Don't do it. Then he starts on the steps, and then he like.
Dude, there was this part. There was that shot though where he looks up at him, and this is when I realized how blue Chief's eyes were. He's like, "I will bite you.
I will bite you." Because he was like, "I'm not a." He's like, "I'm a stray. I'm not." I will bite you.
So serious, dude. I love Bryan Cranston's voice. Bryan Cranston's voice made me realize that if he has children, they're so lucky, dude. Like if that's the voice they hear, like for like bedtime stories, like Jesus. Imagine falling asleep. He's doing the red fish, blue, or reading you some Dr. Seuss, man.
Red fish, blue fish, one fish, two fish.
Dude, like a Walter White, dude. Yeah, there were parts in the film where I was like looking at it and noticing. I just love how it's like the dogs seem so sophisticated, but at the end of the day, like they made sure to include these details where it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, they are dogs. You know, like their understanding of things, their perception of things, that they so easily forget things. Because to be completely honest to you, I thought this movie took place over the course of like 6 years. And then I realized that all of those things had happened and they made it seem like time had stretched, but it had only been a little bit of time.
It was only a short amount of time, yeah.
Yeah, because like even when you get to the part where finally, and I think it's I'm going to mispronounce the name, Liev Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber.
When they find Spot, and then Spot, he's talking to those like Aboriginal cannibal dogs or whatever they called them, and he meets, I think, Peppermint. And once they have their conversation, and very quickly it's alluded to that they jump in the sack. And then literally within like, I think 2 minutes, they're leaving that area or linking up with Chief and Atari.
So I actually think that happened beforehand.
Like way in the past?
Not like way in the past, but I think shortly after he got onto the island in his like box. That was when that part takes place.
So the whole Aboriginal cannibal thing, are you saying that like, because that would mean that, I guess they were insinuating that was a flashback then?
Yeah, but like I don't think there's too much of an amount of time between when Spots gets onto the island and Atari gets onto the island. But I think in between that time that Spots got to the island and Atari got to the island is when that part with the cannibal dogs happened. Because I think that part leads up into when he meets up with like Atari and Chief.
I thought those things were like, those events were kind of like,
I think they all are very close to, I think they are very close to each other. But I think like, so when they think that they found Spots and it turns out that they didn't find him and it was a sport, I think that Spots had already been found. Because otherwise,
Found by who?
He's found. So Spot. Okay, I should probably have explained that. When Spots is taken to the island, unlike pretty much every other dog, seemingly with the exception maybe of Sports, he's inside of a kennel.
Oh,
and it's that kennel has a very. Oddly enough, we thought it had a very specific key, but Atari's key actually opened up the kennel for Sport, who is the dog that they thought was Spots. Because when they find that kennel that had Sport in it, it's just bones.
Yeah. And they see like a dog tag.
And they see a dog tag that has SPO.
But the rest of it's cut off.
okay. I did not watch the movie. Just as a clarification.
So that's why I believe that Spot's part had to have happened beforehand, because it wouldn't make sense for him to somehow have also been in his kennel for that long and not died. But it could also be seen that maybe Sports got there earlier. But Spots also seemed to have been put in there pretty much right after the mandate to put dogs on that island was handed down.
Yeah. Because ultimately, and the reason I bring that up is because it seemed like things moved so fast for them, but like also like I should say that there was this weird sort of like time dilation because it's a dog, right?
I was about
Like,
to say, could that just be
yeah. So like
dog
when he
years.
meets Peppermint, and it seems like very quickly when they finally link up with Atari and Chief, he's like, "Hey, I can't be your guard dog anymore." Essentially, like I've accepted this position, and it seemed like he'd only recently been released. He'd only recently sort of come into this sort of like village of dogs and got an understanding of who they were. He's like started a family, but even if it's within like a matter of a couple days, it seems like the life that he lived in between getting to the island and meeting back up with Atari, that it almost kind of been like years.
I don't know.
Really,
That was probably months.
I thought it was like the way that they had started.
No,
to frame
because
it was like a matter of days,
because
like
she was only
days or
like she was
weeks.
still pregnant, and that was his like that would have been their first litter.
Right, but I guess that's why I'm like trying to figure out just how much the way they told that piece of it, because there was the flashbacks to show Atari being introduced to Spot and them their relationship starting, but I guess I didn't take his being released by that group of dogs as another like flashback, because I would still consider that if it had been months, I would consider that as like being like a flashback.
I can understand that,
Yeah,
because they didn't treat it like a flashback.
Yeah, kind of just like it wasn't like, you know, how we were talking about with Barbarian, where there's like a very stark contrast in the way they were using color and the way the houses looked and everything like that. So
it just looked like a meanwhile type deal was
yeah.
happening. Yeah, no, I think it was supposed to be a flashback, and they just didn't explain that. That part probably wasn't explained off very well. So there's an exchange student who is from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Dude, yes,
Wow.
that was that part. Like I had to stop, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Because I saw that when they were talking about like, you know, deporting her and like taking her back to her home country, she had a ticket in her hand. At first, it just had the one side that showed Ohio.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, what a coincidence!" And then like the person translating goes, "We're taking her back to Cincinnati, Ohio," and I was like, "What?"
I was like, that's random.
Yeah, dude, like of all the cities you could have. It's like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like where it's like you didn't expect to hear that, and it's like, damn.
I feel like sometimes we're treated as like a out in the middle of nowhere town.
Yeah.
Which is really weird.
Well, I think
because,
just Ohio in general,
like,
too.
Yeah. It's just so weird. I was like, Cincinnati, Ohio. She was upset at it. Anybody else? But she eventually is kind of like the main person that figures out that. Part of me wants to say it was Nakamura, but I can't remember. But the mayor.
Kobayashi?
Oh, was it Kobayashi?
The Kobayashi clan,
Yeah,
I think.
Kobayashi clan.
Of the family.
That the Kobayashi family was kind of up to no good, and that somehow she also knew that Atari had left and gotten onto that island. But while they're doing that part, the dogs are off in their own side of things, and then eventually both sides come to the realization that no good is about to happen, and that all the dogs are about to be taken out by these these robot dogs that the Kobayashi family has created that are supposed to replace all dogs.
Like Metal Sonic.
Yeah, it was very Metal Sonic and Sonic-y. And I also found that I love that they had no problems with scrapping, and whenever they would like get into a fight, it would do that like cartoon
Like the
dust
puff cloud.
puff cloud.
Yes, dude. And it looked like, because it was like claymation or however they did it, that it was essentially just like wool. Or
Yeah, it was like
something that
yarn,
they were
like
using
it's
for
just
that.
like moving around.
I also love that, like, the little notes of, like, hey, don't forget, at the end of the day, these are dogs. The Oracle.
Oh yeah,
The Oracle was, like, so there was this dog, I forget the name of the dog that she was working alongside of, but they were talking, there was a scene kind of like halfway point of the film and they're trying to get a beat on the location of Spot. So they go to these two dogs. One is named the Oracle, and Oracle is this tiny little pug. Super cute, but when they explain why the Oracle has the abilities it has, it's literally just because she watches TV. They like make it seem they literally call it her visions, the Oracle's visions, and she'll just be sitting in front of the TV. And the way they explain it is like she's the only dog that kind of like understands what's happening on the TV, which is why she can take that news and then go
give
ahead and
it
give it to the other
distribute.
dogs. But these are very little details, but it just reminded me of like dogs I've been around, but like my sister's dog. Mm-hmm. He's so freaking cute, but he's a big sneezer. He sneezes constantly. And in that scene when they first introduced to the Oracle, like her lines had stopped, but while the other dog is talking, there's just this random little sneeze. And it was so cute, but it reminded me of it. Like there's, you know what I mean? Like there's these little things that dogs do, and like they'll forget something and they'll like repeat it. Because
the sneeze was a symptom of the virus.
The flu.
Oh, she had the virus. I didn't realize the Oracle had the virus.
Yeah, like that. So like that. I think it was called like snout virus or something like that. That was one of the symptoms of it was sneezing. That was why like most like a lot of the dogs would just like randomly like sneeze. But it worked also because that is such a dog thing.
Yeah,
like they'd just be like doing whatever they're gonna do, like and then they'll just go back to what they were doing. Oracle played by Tilda Swinton.
Oh my gosh.
So
that's that. Okay. Yeah.
Continuing his
There you go.
Yeah.
There was also two scientists who were developing a cure for all of this, but the Kobayashi family didn't really want that. Mm-hmm. So the first scientist, who I believe was played by what is his name? He was in Godzilla. He was in
Ken Watanabe?
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Ken Watanabe. And the second one was played by Yoko Ono.
Wow. A lot of heavy hitters.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. What?
Yeah. There's a lot of people in this movie. We went over most of
Who's
the list
Peppermint?
The first time. Peppermint is Kara Hayward.
I'm not familiar with that name.
She has been in. Oh boy.
She's doing this live, folks. If you were curious, like, this is.
We always do this live.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have like some things prepared. For the most part, we don't. She's in Slayers.
What is that?
Slayers?
Slayers? What?
Yeah. It was a vampire movie, 2022, I think.
Oh, I think.
What?
Yeah.
Slayers.
Slayers. She's in Manchester by the Sea, Moonrise Kingdom.
Okay, because Moonrise Kingdom is one of the films you'd mentioned as one of your other favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just the other Wes Anderson movie that I've seen.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
But we have F. Murray Abraham was in this movie. Is Jupiter. Harvey Keitel was in this movie.
She looks like Alexandria Daddario.
She does kind of. Courtney B. Vance was the narrator in the movie. We have Roman Coppola was in this movie. Angelica Houston was in this movie. There are a lot of people in this movie.
He just gets anybody, huh?
People want to be in his movies, apparently. So eventually we get to the ending. They have to fight off all of the robot dogs. They get themselves from the Isle of Dogs back to the mainland. And we think that everything's okay because the mayor basically gives himself up. But it turns out that his second and I guess the Minister of Defense was not down for that, so he stages a coup. And the fray and kerfuffle, I thought that Spots had died.
Yeah.
I was like, what? There's death in this movie? But ultimately, it turns out that he does survive. 10-year-old, I think, Atari becomes
12.
the 12 maybe?
Yeah.
Becomes the mayor. due to some like loophole in the
yeah.
in the laws. And Spot, our chief, who we had said before, it turned out was Spots' brother. They were from the same litter.
Mm-hmm.
We thought that Chief was black this entire time, but he ends up getting he was very dirty. And once he gets a bath, he turns out to be like a white dog that looks just like Spots.
Well, the only difference is like their nose.
Their nose.
I think.
His was a black nose, where Spots was pink, I believe. And he takes his place by Atari's side. Spots takes his place by Peppermint's side, and they now have their kids.
Oh yeah. What was the name of the dog that Chief? I know it's played by Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlet Nutmeg. Mm-hmm.
Scarlet Namek.
I said Nutmeg. Scarlet Namek.
I was like, how did Dragon Ball Z?
I didn't even say Scarlet. You were the one saying Scarlet.
It sounded like you were saying Scarlet over top, like at the same time before you said Namek.
I said Nutmeg, and you were still saying Scarlet. You just like put them together, and it was like Scarlet Namek.
Wow. You know, another thing. You just wait for that.
Here it goes.
Just hearing
Right here it
different.
goes.
Dude, all of your favorite properties are just going to come up into some kind of weird amalgamation of new characters and movies that...
I mean, that's kind of what happens.
The Nutmeg was a previous show dog who had been placed on the island. So there's like a little running thing between her and Chief, where he asked her to do a trick, and she like does her movements in the trick, but she says like she doesn't have the prop.
Yeah.
So he has to imagine what it is that she's
I
doing.
can imagine that I'm like juggling 10 bowling balls in a ring of fire, and like she would just say that, dude. And she was doing some crazy tricks though, like literally just doing a one-handed, like one-arm handstand. That's impressive for a dog made out of clay.
A paw stand, maybe.
Boston, there you go. That's way better. Yeah.
That's my contribution to this episode.
Oh man, this was a good one. It's a good one though.
Hey, I'll take that.
Because as soon as I said Hampton, I was like, that just doesn't feel right. But they understand. They'll get it. And then he said Paul.
No, like Paul Stan. Yeah. No, a very fun movie.
Very fun.
Very just like I didn't know what to expect, because I actually didn't like rewatch like a trailer or anything for it to like kind of be like, let me mentally prepare myself for it.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of watching it, I was like, oh, this has like, so it's funny because it is a funny movie. I don't know if it takes itself as a comedy, but it is very funny, and it has its moments of like feels, but for the most part it is just outright just an adventure that happens within like a certain span of time. But it also has just like such like there's tones in it, much like Grand Budapest Hotel. How we were saying essentially things like loyalty and like love and things like that. And this movie, it's like, I will say this movie is much more of like, it's what it's trying to convey is less saccharine. It's definitely it comes across as a movie that's like anti-war, anti-genocide, just a lot of the sentiments that I kind of think the Japanese themselves carry, wrapped up into just this like, also despite coming out in 2018, it kind of has these feelings of things that come for us in the real world later. A pandemic, the fear of a pandemic, like the stigma of sickness, like all these things that we all experienced in 2020 and 2021, but just like 2 years before it. So I thought that was weird that it was so prescient, but it wrapped itself into just like an entertaining package that I hope you do get to see.
Yeah.
I will say off camera, I'll give it to you.
Please.
But yep, I do definitely hope you get to see it. So, dun dun dun
Dun dun dun. Probably should come up with a jingle or something.
How many? What would you give this movie?
How many Panharmonicons would I give this movie? I would give it a 4.5 Panharmonicons.
Whoa.
Unlike the last one, guys, I'm not gonna actually just give this 4. I loved it, but it was not. That's a strong. 4.5 is strong. I understand why it could be a 4.5. Just for me, it was just a little. I think kind of like what you were saying about like that misunderstanding and the spots part. Like, is that a flashback? Is that not a flashback? There are just ever slight pacing issues, and I think that just comes from the movie moving kind of at a breakneck pace to get itself to its ending. Even though it's not a short movie, it is relatively, but it's also an animated movie, so maybe that's to be expected. But it did feel like it was rushing itself a little too much.
Yeah, I think the reason for me it goes to a 4.5 is just because it was. I don't know. This may sound bad, but it wasn't something that I had any expectations for, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. I didn't go into it with like an expectation of how the story was going to unravel. Like I kind of saw its art style and just was like, I'm just going to accept this as an adventure. I do see your point about the pacing though, because for me personally, I think the pacing issues are more like in the front end. I would say like within like the first 20 to 25 minutes or so, just kind of, but I also don't know if that was just like a matter of me getting adjusted into that world. But yeah, I thought it was just like, it was an entertaining, fun little adventure, and definitely recommend you seeing this movie. Yeah, but also like a 4, definitely fair. But it was fun, dude. It had me laughing, and I needed a good chuckle, and it gave me my chuckle. I like Chucko.
All right, guys. So, just wanted to thank you all for listening in as we talked about Isle of Dogs, Wes Anderson classic. Please make sure that you give us a thumbs up if you like this. Give us a thumbs down if you didn't. If you're on Spotify, give us a rating. Let us know if you liked it from 1 to 5 stars. Drop a little comment saying, "Hey man, Rex was hilarious." Or I like Boss personally. Probably out of
Bill Murray.
No, I'm sorry, Duke. Jeff Goldblum's character, how he would always be like, "So, did you hear about?"
Yeah, he always had like the inside scoop.
And eventually, they're finally
just like, "How do you know?
How do you know this?" Listen, I'm always around. But if on YouTube, guys, if you are subscribed, hit that subscribe. If you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you are subscribed, hit that notification bell.
Yeah,
it'll let you know when we put these bad boys out. On Spotify, hit that follow. And I said on both of them, just drop a comment. Let us know what you thought about the movie. Let us know what you thought about this episode. I think I said all of the engagement things that I needed to say. So I just wanted to thank you all for listening once more.
Yeah, absolutely appreciate you tuning in and giving us a little bit of your time.
Most certainly. And this has been Damon.
This is Farron.
And this is Andrew.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of Panharmonicon Studios Presents
a podcast.
Thank you for listening.
See you in the next one.
Would you know who I'm talking about if I said, would you know who I was talking about? Of course, Duke Ellington. That's right, Duke Ellington.